Well, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. This month, our feature focus is legal literacy. And our first guest today for this month is Pete Fierro with Legal Aid of Northwest Texas. Welcome, Pete. Happy
Good
to have you
morning.
here.
Good morning, Alba.
Well, I know you were our guest last year too for our legal literacy live stream. So we're so happy to have you back again to talk about all the services that Legal Aid of Northwest Texas offers. Because I know people, that like myself, we've slept since then, and so we need a refresher. And let us know all the services that you provide and all the great things that y'all are doing for the community out there. So let's start off with that. Tell us a little bit about what Legal Aid of Northwest Texas, what area they cover, where your office is, and what services you provide specifically for the Permian Basin. So let's start off with that.
Okay, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here. Like I said, it's been a while, so it's sort of like a refresher course for all of us. Well, my name is Pete. I am not a lawyer. Let me start off with that. I have to say that first and foremost. So I'm not a lawyer, but I have been here with Legal Aid for about 16 years. Legal Aid of Northwest Texas is a nonprofit organization. We have 14 offices from Odessa, Midland, San Angelo, Amarillo, all the way up through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we are not just here in Odessa, Midland. Legal Aid of Northwest Texas provides free civil legal assistance to individuals who are needing assistance in a civil legal matter. And when I say the word free legal assistance, sometimes people think, well, I'm going to go to Legal Aid and I'm going to get a lawyer. So I always say legal assistance can mean many things. Maybe the issue that you're facing doesn't need a lawyer, but maybe you need some advice. So free legal assistance can mean anywhere from us writing a letter to the other party. It could be where Legal Aid will draft documents for you, or if you have documents, read them to you, or maybe say, you know what, we can't help you for whatever reason. However, we are providing you those documents so you can proceed with your legal matter on your own. And then ultimately, if we accept your case and we accept that we can represent you in a legal matter, in whatever it is that you're going through, whether it be a legal matter in court or some other legal matter. So legal assistance, when I say free legal assistance, is a variety of assistance that Legal Aid can provide, not just giving you a lawyer and you having a lawyer, because a lot of times we just aren't able to assist at that time.
Okay. And so when you talk about accepting their case, so if Legal Aid accepts a person's case, what's a process after that?
Okay. Well, obviously you have to apply for Legal Aid. There is a process. We are a nonprofit, so we do have an eligibility guideline. We have a checklist. You have to meet those requirements on that eligibility checklist. So we want to make sure we can talk to you. We want to make sure we can talk to you about the legal matter that you have. We want to make sure that you qualify under those eligibility guidelines. And then you get to speak to a lawyer. And the process is, I've never met you, Alba. So if you were to come into my office, who are you? Why are you here? What happened? When did it happen? How did it happen? And really, at the end of the day, what do you want Legal Aid to do for you? Mm-hmm. Now, once we get all of that information, the attorneys every Friday of every week, will discuss every application that has come into our office, whether I used to say in person, but we're close to the public. So any application that has landed in our office, mm-hmm. and that's where the decisions are made. Again, it goes back to, okay, Alba, do you need us to write you a letter? Do we need to draft the documents for you? Do we just need to give you the documents? Or, you know what, Alba, Legal Aid will represent you, so we're going to send you a letter with the instructions of how we're going to proceed going forward. But if we decide to represent you, we do it for free. you're not paying the legal aid attorney. It is free. So that's the key word. It's free because everyone wants a free lawyer, and we just don't have the manpower. That doesn't mean that we're not going to reject your case. That just means that we have to go through those applications and see uh, where the priorities are, who needs immediate assistance, and so the attorneys weigh those factors when they're deciding whether they will be able to represent your doubts.
Right. So somebody is not going to be like walk into the legal aid office and say they're immediately going to be handed a free attorney. So that's
Right,
not how
right.
this works.
No, it is a process because I forgot to mention that although there is a legal aid office in Midland, there is a legal aid office in Odessa. Under our offices, we cover 6 counties. So if you're in Midland or live in, the Midland area, the legal aid office in Midland covers Midland, Martin, Howard, Glasscock, Reagan, and Upton County. So that's 6 counties with a staff of 3 attorneys in our legal aid office. That's a lot of people who are inquiring about legal aid. And that's sometimes what people think, well, I don't have a job, or they cut my hours, or I just simply don't have the means to get an attorney. I'm going to go to legal aid and I'm going to get a lawyer right off the spot. And that's not how it works, because we do have a process and we have so many applicants that are applying. We still want you to apply. Most definitely, please apply if you have a legal problem. But that's probably the misconceptions is, I'm going to get assigned a free lawyer. How do I get a free lawyer? And it's a little bit more complicated than just walking in and, you're getting a lawyer.
Right. There's a process that you have to go through. First, you have to apply, and then the attorneys will review the application and determine whether they will accept that case or not. So,
Okay. Now,
problems
let's
that
say you do have a case that it's not too difficult. It's not very time consuming. So really, my job at Legal Aid is to help with the overflow of those applications that come in. So I may get your application, Alba, and say, you know what, Alba needs a lawyer. Pete, go out into the legal community and see if you can find a lawyer for Alba for free, pro bono. And that's really my job. I wear 2 hats. I help through the application process, and I help with the overflow of applications. So you're not necessarily just rejected or we can't help you. If it's a case that I think I can place, then that's my job, is to go out into the legal community. There are over 300 attorneys in Midland, and my job is to take your application to one of those lawyers and convince them why they should help you. And so that's really what my job at Legal Aid is. So if we don't represent you, then it may land on my desk, and then I try to find someone who can help you.
So there's 2 kind of services that Legal Aid provides. One
Correct.
is if the attorneys that I guess volunteer for Legal Aid may accept your case, then you'll get services that way. If they decline your case, then you, Pete, as as your title outreach coordinator, I'm not sure, then
Volunteer
you go out
coordinator.
there and try to see if you can find an attorney that will be willing to take a client's case for free.
For free, correct.
And if you're not able to find them a attorney that will take their case pro bono, then at that point, what are the recommendations?
If I can place a case, for instance, I have 5 applications on my desk right now. I will do my best. I have to at least contact 3 or 4 attorneys. They could all say yes, they could all say no. And what happens if I can't place it, then it goes back into we call it our staffing, and the attorneys will then take maybe another look at it. And at that time, that's when they say, well, we can't take it, maybe we're full, or Pete couldn't place it. So right now, maybe all we can do is just give you advice, or apply again should your situation change. So it goes back to in-house, and then what they decide after that is up to the attorneys and at that point. But I wish I could say that I'm going to place all of these five. I could have it, every attorney say yes, or they could say no, and but really that's, you just don't know. They've got their own caseloads. They're busy as well, and so. But really, that is my job. So I do my very best to try to place every case that lands on my desk, and so there are ways to you know to try to take your case, but sometimes it's just
It's not possible.
impossible. Yeah,
Yeah.
impossible. Yeah,
And so our viewers also need to remember that the attorneys that are working with legal aid, they're volunteering their time, correct?
right. They are volunteering their
So they
time.
have, like
They
you mentioned, they have their own caseloads. They are working for law firms, and I'm sure they have their own cases that they're working on. So in their free time, they do this. So
right, and I always tell
remember,
everyone.
not to get frustrated.
Right. Like
Right.
the keyword is patience. I always tell them,
Mhm.
going forward, the keyword is patience because we're on their time. I've been doing this for so long. I've had a lot of attorneys. They're good attorneys because they do work. That should already tell you the type of person that they do because they do this volunteer work and they take these cases for free.
Mhm.
Um, and so that should already tell you I would give them,
The quality,
one, right, right,
quality
and
attorneys that they
right.
are. Yeah.
But they do have their own caseload. It's not to say that your case is any more or less important than their playing clients. It's just uh, going forward, we're on their time. They may be in court, they may be on vacation, they may be sick, they have a life. But I have yet to have bad experience with placing a case with a private attorney. Um, but I wish I could say there's something that says they have to take the case, but there really isn't. They do so. I say the volunteers who help me do so out of the kindness of their heart.
Right.
Simply that's what it is. They want no award. They want no money other than giving back to the
The community.
community.
Just like
Right.
any volunteer that volunteers for a nonprofit organization or a charity, they do it out of their
Correct.
kindness of their heart, or they feel passionate about that particular mission. So
Most
just
definitely.
remember that.
Yeah,
All
most definitely. And
right.
at the end of the day, I don't want to. I want everyone to encourage to reach out to legal aid. Whether, well, pizza, you wouldn't help me. No, really, that's not for me to decide. If you
Mhm.
do have a legal problem, big or small, reach out to us. Reach out to our Midland office. Reach out to our Odessa office. Just reach out to us when, if you don't know, just get your foot in the door. Let's get your foot in the door, and we'll reach that bridge when we get there. But at the very least, if anyone is going through any legal problem, reach out to us immediately. Don't wait.
Okay, and so let's talk about how people can reach out. What's the application process? I'm assuming that it's still online because your offices, you mentioned, are still closed due to COVID.
Right. Due to the COVID, our offices have been closed to the public. So unfortunately, don't drive up to our office in Midland or Odessa because you're going to see a sign that says close. But we do have a couple of ways to go about applying for legal aid. Unfortunately, everything's been done by phone. So you can contact our office in Odessa. You can contact our office in Midland. We'll set you up an appointment by phone. Typically in Odessa, it's on Monday morning. Typically, if you're in Midland, their appointments are set for Tuesday morning. I understand every situation is an emergency. You don't want to wait till next week to speak to a lawyer. We do have a hotline number. They take those calls Monday through Friday. Um, you can call that number. You mentioned online, Alba. You can apply online only if it's a non-family matter. So if it's a non-family matter, you can go on, I think it's www.landwood.org and apply online. But it has to be a non-family matter. And
And
right now,
we'll put the phone numbers for both offices and the online link in the comments below after the live stream as well. So
and because of COVID and evictions, we even have a hotline for individuals who are facing eviction issues even now, who are having issues with maybe don't understand the rental agreement, trying to get out of the rental agreement. were forced out of their apartment, were evicted. We even have a hotline for that, just because of, people were getting evicted left and right due to the COVID and non-payment of rent. So we even have a number for that. So if individuals who are like, well, I can't talk to someone during the day, I just don't have time. I'm at work. I can't get on the phone. We do offer evening clinics. So if you want to speak to an attorney after 5, we do have those. I think in Midland, they're every second Tuesday of the month. In Odessa, they're every third Wednesday of the month. And that's, for you to speak to an attorney, to a volunteer attorney or a landwid staff attorney after 5. But call ahead to make sure what clinics are available. Sometimes we have general clinics, and sometimes we have, more specialized clinics. And for instance, Odessa is having a clinic this month, but it's for wills and estate planning. I know in Midland they're having one for occupational licenses, I think, for this month. So call ahead to see if your legal matter, if you need, a specific legal help with a legal issue, or if it's a specialized legal problem. And either way, we'll find a way to get you in our office.
And those clinics, how can our viewers view those clinics? Is it by
If you go to our website on www.landwid.org, if you do locations, if you do Odessa and Midland, you'll have our address, our phone numbers, and it'll have all of our clinic dates for the whole year. So you can see my clinics, you can see our Midland clinics, and they're all listed by dates and times. So that's
people can view them on YouTube, or how can people view them? Is what I'm saying. Or
the clinics. There aren't really clinic to view. They're more just clinic dates, so that if someone has legal issue in August, they know, okay, Pete's mentioned a clinic, what day is that clinic, and they can go on that web page and see what dates we have. And what kind of legal clinic are we having? Is it a general clinic? Is it a wills clinic? Is it an estate planning clinic? And so our website will list the dates and times of those clinics. But they're going to be done in person or virtual, like we're doing right now, unfortunately. And that may change down the line, but unfortunately, this is how we're handling our clinic. So there's 4 or 5 ways to apply for our services.
Okay. And so you mentioned with the online application, it cannot be a family matter. So give us examples of what would not be, you could not.
Okay. So if anything involving a divorce or a custody, child support, adoption, those are family law cases. So those you would have to apply over the phone.
Okay. And are there any particular legal matters that you do not handle? So if you get there, let's say you get an application, they're having some immigration issues, does legal aid take those type of cases? Or are there any cases that legal aid will just absolutely not take?
Okay. Legal aid does not do any criminal law. Okay. So if someone is incarcerated and they're needing a lawyer, we don't handle those cases. If you are trying to sue because you fell somewhere and you want to sue them for $1 million, we don't take those cases. Any case where you're asking for monetary damages, we don't do those cases.
Okay.
Now, immigration is something we can talk to you about only if you are a victim of domestic violence and you're needing assistance, such as a divorce. You're a victim of domestic violence, but you wanted to get a divorce, but you're undocumented. Then we can talk to you about that. And so we don't really do immigration, but we can help with victims who have been victims of domestic violence, unfortunately.
Okay. And so what are the cases that you do get, the applications that you do?
And the way I sort of memorized it is through the alphabet. So we do adoptions, bankruptcy, consumer debt harassment, evictions, foreclosures, guardianships, housing issues, landlord-tenant issues, name changes for adults, name changes for children, occupational licenses. We do expungements, non-disclosure. So if you are trying to get a job, if you're trying to get an apartment, there's something on your record that's preventing you from getting that job or that apartment, then that's the closest we'll do to touching that line on criminal. We help with estate planning, power of attorney, medical power of attorney, wills. Uh, so pretty much, we'll get a birth certificate. If you were born in Texas and you need a birth certificate, we can certainly help you with that. So it's maybe a contract. If you got a contract, you don't understand it, we can help you with that. So really, anything that I've mentioned, is considered civil, and we can talk to you about those issues.
So it needs to be civil, a
It needs to be
civil
civil,
legal
right?
matter. Okay, so
Right.
not
Yeah.
necessarily, well, you do help with, you mentioned adoption, right?
Yes, we do adoptions. Yes,
Do
and we
you
do
help with divorce and those kind
and
of?
termination of parental rights. You can talk to someone about paternity. You can talk to someone about modifying their orders regarding if you're married or you went through a divorce, or you're involved in a custody issue and you want to modify orders that are already in place regarding your children. We can do that as well. So yeah, it's just typically, I mean, there's a wide gamut of civil issues that we can talk to you about.
But if a viewer or a potential client wanted a divorce lawyer,
Mhm.
that would not qualify, correct?
If they needed a divorce, yeah, we can talk to them about a divorce.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so pretty much the application process is Mondays in the by phone call in the Odessa location, and Tuesdays by phone in the Midland location. You can also do it, fill out an application online. And so if they fill an application online, will it go to either Midland or Odessa offices depending on where they live?
Correct. What they will do is they will fill out the application. So it's always good, and the application process is your name, your date of birth, your social, your address, your income, as well as information of the other party. Who is it that you're coming in against? It's always a good idea to have that information ready, whether you're making that phone call or whether you're doing it online. And some people may not have that information, but just give us what you can. If you apply online on your laptop, uh, our central office in Fort Worth will get that application, and then you'll get that phone call from someone who will finish that application so that you can speak to an attorney. Because again, we want to make sure that that's a case that we can talk to you about. We want to make sure that there are no conflicts, that you make that eligibility guideline, but it goes to our Fort Worth office, and then it gets sent to our office for us to make that final decision.
Okay.
So it ends up in our office eventually.
Okay. And then is the application process free? Is there any
Yes.
cost involved?
No, it's free. I always tell people the consultation is free, the telephone call is free. Even if you were to come into our office and walk in, it's free. Uh, Go somewhere else and try to get a consultation for free with another attorney, they're going to charge you. But even to speak to us, it's free. I don't know what consultations run with private attorneys, but at least in our office, the consultation is free. And even if it's one question, if that all you have is that one question, you still have to apply. If you were to call me and say, well, Pete, I have a question, I'm not going to be able to answer it because I'm not an attorney. And you're still going to have to do that application process, because we have to document that an application was made. We have to document that we spoke to you, and we have to document the advice that was given, even for one question. Sometimes people have 50 questions, but at the end of the day, we cannot give you any sort of assistance without that application being made, just because we have guidelines and policies and procedures. So right off the bat, I always tell people, I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to ask you questions, but I can't answer your legal questions because I'm not an attorney.
Okay, so that's really important for people to hear. is that you can't just call the office and ask, ramble off all these questions.
Right.
Like, I just have
Right.
this one question, answer it for me quickly. That's not going to work.
No. No.
And
No.
whoever's in the middle office is going to be like, you have to fill out this application.
Hmm. Yeah, because
Just,
because if we were to do something, we're held accountable. I'm held accountable for telling you to
right.
do something, and I would never do that. But at the same time, it goes the other way. Be very mindful of where you're getting your legal information from.
Mhm.
Well, my neighbor told me,
Mhm.
uh, my coworker told me, so and so told me that I could do this or that, and I always rebuttal and say, "Are they an attorney?"
Right.
Where are you getting your information
Right.
from? Well, I got it from the TV or I got it from wherever. And unless it's an attorney, I guess me working with an attorney, unless an attorney tells me, I'm really not going to put a lot of faith into secondhand information. So you want to be mindful of where you're getting your, legal information from. Well, they told me I could do this, or they told me, and my question is to this: who's they? Where are you
Right.
getting that information? So whether it's secondhand information, TV, the internet,
Right.
you
And
know,
I wanted to discuss that too. Is like why it's so important that people receive legal guidance from attorneys and not not second hand. Say, oh, my uncle Sam, he went through the same thing, and this
right,
is
right.
well, no, your situation is going to be very different from his,
Right,
and
right,
your
and we
situation
get that all
is
the
different
time. Well, you
from
helped
your
my
neighbors.
neighbor, and you help my neighbor, and we're going through the exact same thing. And really, you're not, because the situations are different, even if they're smiley different. So yeah, just because we helped your one neighbor, or we help someone in, member of your family, I mean, your situation is going to be totally different from theirs. And so,
Right.
just
Even if, they have a, private attorney and say, well, their attorney, this is what they did and this is what they told
right,
them. I'm like, well, that was because of their situation. You don't
right,
know their situation. This is your situation and your situation can be different. So,
right,
um,
right. And so, if, well, a private attorney told me this, and it's sort of plain telephone. By the
mhm,
time it gets to you, something might have changed in the wording or the way it was given to you. So unless someone told me directly, like I'm having a conversation with you, at least I heard it from you and not three or four people by the time it got to you. And
right.
so again, uh, unless a lawyer, told you that, just be very mindful of where you're getting that information from. If you don't know, call us. I always tell everyone, the attorneys, when you do that application, when they do talk to you on the phone, they will flatly tell you, these are your rights. This is what you can do. This is what you cannot do. This is what the other party can do. This is not, what the other party can't do. And that's the hard part, is because I want, and I get that. We all go through things, and it's the I want, but it's what does the law say? It's not
Exactly.
Pete's opinion. It's not Oliver's opinion. It is what does the law say? And sometimes the law, is the
Right.
law. And
And, it's like, well, I want custody of my child. I'm like, well, you may want that, but, the law says
that's
this.
different. Yeah, the law says different. And if,
Mhm.
especially with the custody, it's in the best interest of the child. And
Mhm.
so, it's
And we have a lot of, especially at our literacy center, we have a lot of refugees and a lot of immigrants where they don't understand the legal system in the United States. And legal system is very different from Mexico. It's very
hmm
different from
oh
Bermuda. It's
yeah,
very different from, Afghanistan or wherever country that they're coming from. And so they're like, well, in my country, this is, well, no, you're in the United States now, and this is our legal system.
correct. And I mean, you can even say, and that happens all the time, because, well, I got married in Mexico and I got property in Mexico, but the property's not in the United States. And so you're correct. Texas law is different from Mexico law, but however, Texas law is different from New Mexico law and Arizona law. So
Right.
all the laws are different, and so that's another thing to be mindful is, well, a lawyer in California told me I could do this. Well,
Right.
you're in Texas now,
Laws are
so
different. Exactly.
right, and so that's another. the law is the law, but how it is interpreted, it's up to the state. And um, and sometimes we can go to not only just JP court, county court. You're talking about district court. Sometimes there's issues involving federal court. So I mean, it's. But you're right. We get that all the time, and that's very hard to let people know. It's just like I understand that you're you know Canada. You came from Canada, and that's how things are done in Canada. But you're in Texas. You're in Odessa, and
Hmm.
so this is unfortunately how it is
Yeah.
here in Odessa.
So it's extremely important not to go by other people or secondhand or anything. Seek legal guidance, and if you're overwhelmed with
Right.
financial, that's what legal aid is here for. So
And
start
and
off
you
by filling out that application, and then we can get you start with. They
and
can
you
get
made
you
a
going from
you,
there.
you made a good point. People are overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, I've got this legal problem.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, what do I do? If anything out of today's session, legal aid. If you're just like, Lois, I don't know what to do. I've got these papers. I got
Mhm.
served. I'm having this issue with another party. I'm overwhelmed.
I'm
I don't know what
confused.
to
Yeah.
do. Let them call you and then reach out to me. That's why we do these, because they're not going to remember me, but they're going to say, Alba, who was that guy that did that presentation?
Mhm.
And that's why I do this, because probably they're going to maybe reach out to you first before they reach out to me. And that's why we do these. That's why we have these partnerships with each other. Because at the end of the day, you may not need a legal problem today, or you may not have one today, but
Mhm.
next month, down the year, Alba, who was that? I forgot. I didn't write his name. I didn't get his number. Do you have? And you have that information. You had to get a hold of me. And so, if at the very least, when you become overwhelmed, reach out to your organization, and then follow up with me, because I when you are overwhelmed, you just don't know where to go or what to do, or and so that's really what I wanted to talk about, is just that we exist.
Mhm.
It's a process, but we exist. We are Odessa, we're in Midland, we're in San Angelo, we're all over Northwest Texas. But you've sort of, you know even if to answer one question,
Right.
even if
Yeah.
you have a question on one document, call us. Get it from the attorney, so that at least you
Or
know that you're
call
getting
the
the correct.
hotline or
Call the
that.
hotline.
Right.
Get online. There's countless numbers of ways for you to get in touch with us. But yeah, reach out to us when you are overwhelmed, because I had someone I'm talking to today who was overwhelmed and went through the court system alone. Unfortunately, lost her
Mhm.
case, and so now she's worried about this things after the fact, the repercussions. And
Mhm.
I sort of
Yeah.
wish,
Don't
like, oh
recommend you going through
yeah,
the legal system by yourself. It's very overwhelming.
no, it's overwhelming, and it was overwhelming for her. She spoke Spanish. She didn't understand the documents that she was served with. She went to court with no attorney.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
the court ruled in the other party's favor, and now she's worried about what the court can do and not do. And so I feel bad for individuals like that, and I wish I could tell them, why didn't you call me? Um,
You
you
know,
know,
and that's why we're doing this, because we want people, want our viewers and our students and our constituents to know about you, so that if they are going through any kind of legal issue, they can reach out to you. And if they don't feel comfortable reaching out to you, reach out to us first, and then we will get you connected with Pete or the Midland office, or whoever, wherever you're living.
and it doesn't even have to be even when you're going to court, whether you're buying a car, whether
Right.
you're taking out a loan, whether you're paying someone to fix your house. You always, if
You
there's
want
a
to make sure that that
contract,
contract is,
get
yeah.
that contract in writing, get something in writing, get before you even start on whatever, because if you did something and you didn't understand and I didn't
Signing, you
sign
signed
and
off on
I don't
something
have a
and you're like, oh,
copy,
I realize I signed off on that.
right,
Right.
you don't know what you're signing. And so that's my thing, is just, if you don't understand what you're going to sign, bring it to us. Let the attorneys go over that with you, because you just don't know what you're signing. And if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yes, yes.
That's really, you know it's just, yeah, that's, I
There's,
can't say
yeah,
enough
there's a lot
about
of
that.
scammers out there, so just be
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of
careful.
scammers. Yeah.
Legal, seek out legal advice or legal guidance. And
And not just, I
like I
mean,
said,
not
we're
just,
going to put all the phone numbers and the links on the comments, so
Mhm.
you can, so you will have them. So any final thoughts? We're coming to the end of our interview, Pete.
No, I mean, I know I probably overwhelmed you with all of the information that I did, but at the very least, just, if
Start
not
out,
you,
start out, call them, start out the process, start with the process, and then we go from there.
we'll
But
go from
don't
there.
be
Yeah,
afraid.
just, yeah, most definitely. That's the first step is, just be mindful of, we're in the phone book, we're online, you know how to get a hold of me. So you may not need us now, but, keep us in mind in the future, whether you or your neighbor, friend, relative, just be mindful of, I would rather have you call me today than after the fact when, you know,
There's not much we can do for you.
right. But
But
again, that's not for me to decide. That's for the attorneys to decide. But it it can't hurt you, but it might help you if you just reach out to us, beforehand,
before the problem gets worse.
before the problem gets worse. Correct, correct. Because when you ask me about those why we can't help you, because a lot of times those legal issues are just
Mhm.
realistically cannot get unsolved. And that's a lot of times that we can't help you maybe for that reason because that issue just became so combobulated that realistically nothing can be done realistically, and that's from a lawyer talking. So we don't want it to get to that point. Reach out to us.
Well, thank you so much, Pete. This was wonderful information, and I think our viewers and our students will appreciate all the services that you provide, and I know the community appreciates all the services you provide. And like I said, we'll put Pete's information and all the phone numbers and the links in our comments. And if you have any questions, you can just um, uh, dial that number and give them a
Will
call.
do.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks so much, Pete. See you
All
next.
right. See you next time.